Welcome back. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Todd.
And this is Football Friday.
Cheers.
Okay. Cheers. Okay. I gotta find my notes. So
what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about the transfer window.
The transfer window. That's a weird kind of window.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of windows?
Yeah, actually. There's at least two of them, but okay. Wow. So what is the transfer window?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
So the transfer window is the period during the year when a football club can add players to their squad who were previously under contract with another club.
Okay.
Yeah. So the transfer is completed by registering the player to the new club through FIFA.
Oh.
We've talked about FIFA before, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit.
Do we even know what FIFA stands for?
Yes, but it's in French, so I'm not going to even try right now. So as described by FIFA, it is the registration period, and transfer window is just an unofficial term that is used by the media.
Oh, okay. So it's not an official period of time.
Well, it is.
Oh, it's an official period of time, but it's not. The transfer window isn't the official
they
name.
They don't call it the transfer window. So if you were to look it up on FIFA's website, they call it the registration period.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So the time and dates of the window are decided by the national football associations. Okay. So like La Liga, the EFL, that kind of thing. But FIFA regulates that the first window may not exceed 12 weeks, and the second occurs during the season and may not exceed 4 weeks. So I'll actually get more into that later.
Okay.
But I wanted to bring that up. So I'm actually going to continue to call it the transfer window going forward.
Okay.
Just because when you look it up, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Unless you look on FIFA,
of
course. So the transfer window of a football association governs international transfers into that association. But if the player transfers out of that international association, the window does not have to be open, but they must transfer into an association with an open transfer window.
Okay, so not all associations have the same transfer window.
Correct. I actually have notes on that too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. I was prepared.
Yay.
Okay, so transfer windows were introduced in response to negotiations with the European Commission. The system had previously been used in European leagues, but was made compulsory by FIFA in the 2002-2003 season. Mm-hmm. Because, to make it easier for people to transfer to different countries and all that. Okay. Exact regulations and exceptions are established by each competition's governing body. And this one was really tough. I was very confused by this when I looked it up, and then I figured it out later. So the competition's governing body is like Ligue 1, mm-hmm. So the top of the French league, the Premier League, La Liga 1, the separate sections of each league's pyramid.
All right.
So rather than by the National Football Association. So let me restart that sentence then, because I got pulled away in the middle of it. So exact regulations and exceptions are established by each competition's governing body rather than by the National Football Association. So the governing body being the Premier League or La Liga 1 or Ligue 1 in France or Bundesliga 1. And the National Football Association would be like La Liga, Bundesliga, the EFL, that kind of thing. Okay.
The National League in Switzerland.
Yeah, is it the Super League?
I don't know. Could be.
I think it's the Swiss Super League. Or that might be the top tier. So maybe that would be right. So FIFA regulates that there will be two windows. One with a max of 12 weeks during the break between the seasons. Okay. And one with a max of 4 weeks or 1 month in the middle of the season. Okay. Yeah, so specific periods depend on the league's season cycle and are determined by the national football authorities.
Okay. So, what's the main reason for wanting to transfer?
End of contract. Maybe you just don't agree with how the club is being run. Maybe you want to follow a certain manager to another club, like any kind of reason, for whatever reason, or maybe for more money, or because your career is kind of ending and you have a specific place you kind of want to be at the end of your career. Anything like that, I think, is things I've seen people transfer for.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so transfer windows by country. I didn't do all of them because there were a lot. So I chose, I think, 1, 2, /3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
Okay.
So for Brazil, their preseason transfer window is from January 1st to March 31st.
Okay.
And their mid-season window is July 14th through August 13th.
Okay. So it's interesting because their season's kind of opposite of European leagues because they're in the southern hemisphere?
Yes. Okay. I was like, think about where they are in they're kind of opposite.
Nice.
So the United States and Canada, this one is interesting to me. Their preseason transfer window is 10th February through May 4th.
Okay.
And their mid-season is July 7th through August 4th.
Okay, so the U.S. and Canada have a different season, even though they're not in the southern hemisphere.
Yes, and I looked at it's because of like weather, or also because of the other sports in the United States. So like basketball, baseball, American football, because there is like all these big sports that are like a big deal in the United States. That was actually one of the reasons that they have a different transfer window.
And they have a different season
cycle. Different season cycle, yeah.
Okay.
So for Switzerland, the preseason transfer window is June 10th through August 31st, and their mid-season transfer window is January 18th through February 15th.
Nice.
Yes. France, their preseason is June 10th through August 30th, and their mid-season is January 1st through February 3rd. England, their preseason is June 14th through September 1st, and their midseason is the 1st through 31st of January. But they also have other rules that I will get into about transfers that are really, really interesting.
Okay.
But I'm not there yet. So Germany's preseason is July 1st through September 1st, and their midseason is also the 1st through 31st of January. And Spain, their preseason is July 1st through September 1st. And also January 1st through, and their midseason is January 1st through February 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of them do kind of tend to fall around the same times. So I think, it makes it a lot easier for players to transfer to different countries.
Sure.
Because their transfer windows have like similar time periods, even if their preseason and midseason are flipped. Okay. A lot more notes to come. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in England, transfers between clubs in the same league can take place as soon as the last competitive fixtures for the season have been played.
Okay, so they can't transfer during the season, but only after the last...
Only in special exceptions can they transfer during the season, and that's actually next. So outside the transfer window, a club may still sign players on an emergency basis, which is typically if there is no goalkeeper available. So special dispensation from the competition's governing body is required. So like specifically from the Premier League or from the National League, they say, hey, like we need a goalkeeper. We actually saw this a couple times in Welcome to Wrexham. Where they signed goalkeepers during the season or on a loan during the season because they didn't have good enough cover. Well, yeah, injuries, but also not good enough cover for goalkeepers. So if the last day of the transfer window is on a weekend, the deadline may be moved to the following Monday at the request of those involved for business reasons. Because, it is tough to do business on like a Sunday night.
And nobody wants to work on that.
Exactly. So they can move it to Monday and have all day on Monday to do that. So free agents can be signed by a club at any time during the season if they had been released by their previous club before the end of the transfer window. So like if they are not a part of a club, even outside the transfer window, they can sign to another club.
As long as they were released during the transfer window.
Yes, released or maybe retired, which is also something we saw with Welcome to Wrexham with Ben Foster. I was just rewatching it, so that it's still fresh in my mind. So anyway, so in England, outside the transfer window, once 7 days have passed following the end of the transfer window, Clubs from the EFL and National League Division can loan in players in the first half of the season until 5 p.m. on the fourth Thursday in November. Very long sentence there.
Okay, wait, this is loaning?
Yes, loan.
Okay, so
This
this
is
is
a
a little
loan.
different than transfer.
Yes, this is different from transferring. And in the second half of the season until 5 p.m. on the fourth Thursday in March. So kind of like the same time length after the transfer window for both the first part of the season and the second part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So an existing loan deal can be made permanent at any time outside the transfer window. So what you could do if you needed a player is you could loan them and then say, hey, we might want to make this permanent. So it's kind of like, I don't know if anyone does this or if this is actually how it can be used, but someone could sign a player first saying that they're on loan,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can just sign them anytime during outside of the transfer window.
I think that a player to be on loan has to have a valid contract with another.
Well, yeah,
So
mean, absolutely.
then there has to be an agreement between the two teams.
Well, yeah, there's that also, but I mean, they could still theoretically be like, actually, we're just going to take your player for you, but... So the transfer deadline day, so the day the window closes, is usually one of the busiest days of the window because, everyone's like trying to get everything done that day because they have like deals that fell through originally and they're now trying to get different players and, it gets crazy. And then I tried to look up transfer windows for women's teams, but they didn't really have anything. The only information I found was actually last summer transfer windows dates for the women's team, which were different from the men's league.
Okay.
So it seemed, at least last season, it was, or last year, 2024, it was from June 26th to September 13th.
Okay.
But that was literally all I could find.
For
the English Women's Super League.
Okay.
Which is like the Premier League, but, that was all my notes.
Okay. Good.
Anyway, so I also wanted to cover like some transfer rumors that I've seen on like social media that I don't actually know are true.
Oh, okay.
One I know is true. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has been at Liverpool his entire career, is leaving Liverpool because he's actually a free agent this summer because he's out of contract. So he hasn't been released, but he's out of contract over the summer. So he's transferring to Real Madrid.
Yep.
Which has like been big news. People are really upset about it because they're calling him a traitor. Liverpool is where he grew up. He trained there. He's from Liverpool, and now he's transferring to Spain.
Well,
yeah. And then there's also other.
He might like siestas very much.
I mean, maybe. Well, his best friend plays for Real Madrid, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that can.
But yeah, there's that. But also we're gonna see like quite a difference in Real Madrid's team just because they're also getting a new manager next season. And people are thinking it's going to be Xabi Alonso, who currently is Bayer Leverkusen's manager, but he has said that he's leaving Leverkusen at the end of the season.
Okay.
So it's kind of thought that he is going to be the new manager for Real Madrid, and some people have been speculating he's going to take Florian Wirtz with him.
Okay. So what you're saying is Real Madrid did not choose me as their new manager.
No, they didn't. Can you believe that?
I don't know what they were thinking.
I know, they should, and then you could have brought me in as the fitness coach.
Oh, there we go. Or at least the dance instructor.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they might have done better this season if they had taken ballet lessons.
That's true.
You saw, like, they needed some more balance on the ball going forward on the pitch.
I think so.
But
and if they were all in a line, they wouldn't be offsides.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because some people are saying that Modric might leave Real Madrid or like be forced out because he's older. He's almost 40. He turns 40 in September, I think.
Okay.
And then also, some people are saying like Lucas Vasquez is leaving. So like their entire captain squad might be leaving except for like Danny Carvajal.
Okay. Well, I mean, Modric is welcome to come hang out with us.
I know, he can always come here. He does seem pretty cool. I did see people are like talking about Wrexham because they've just been promoted up to the championship. They're going to get some crazy big deals this summer, most likely.
Okay.
A lot of things I have seen are also about Jude Bellingham's little brother, Joe Bellingham. There's like a bunch of teams internationally that are looking at him. Currently, he's at Sunderland.
Okay.
And he just actually signed a new contract with them last season, so he'd have to be bought out by a team or go out on loan. But I know Dortmund, which is where Jude used to play, is looking at Job to join. And then some people have said that Real Madrid is looking at Job also, so that they'd both be on the same team. But I don't know how true that is because he is young. He doesn't even have like the first league experience because he's been in the championship. Sunderland is in the championship, and previously he was at Birmingham City, which is also was in League One. They just got promoted to championship as well. With Wrexham. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of crazy rumors. Some of them are insane. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's also people were a couple months ago speculating that Messi might make another move because he's probably starting to come towards the end of his career. He's in his late 30s. Ronaldo is coming towards the end of his career, so it's possible he might also leave the team that I think he started playing for them in 2023 in the Saudi Pro League. But yeah, I don't know if you've heard about any other transfer news.
Oh, I haven't heard of any.
No.
That's not something that usually gets on my radar.
Okay.
But now that we've talked about it, I'm sure all my social media feeds will start showing all the transfer rumors.
Yeah, I mean, probably, I don't know, because you don't use Instagram, so probably not that, because that's where I've gotten most of my information. Is I've seen it a lot on Instagram. Because that's almost like pretty much the only social media I use. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. I can tell you that because Real Madrid is really looking to tighten up that back line. Since they had just so many issues. I mean, there were so many injuries with their defense. So I'm a little worried we're going to be looking at new goalkeepers also. So yeah, I mean, Courtois is only 32, I think, which is, for a goalkeeper, that's actually pretty young.
He's got arms that can cover the whole...
Yes, he is as big as the entire goal is, so, yeah. I don't know if you knew about any transfer stuff, like, with growing up or anything.
No. I never... I mean, I know that that some of the former European stars made it to the North American Soccer League.
MLS, which is Major League Soccer?
This was even before MLS existed.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was NASL, NASL.
Which
North
actually,
American Soccer League,
the women's league is NWSL. I think National Women's Soccer League.
It could be.
But yeah, well, David Beckham used to play for LA Galaxy at the end of his career. So up in, I think, 2011 to 2013. Something, or maybe it was longer.
I mean, and Xherdan Shaqiri played for the Chicago Fire, I think it is.
Yeah, and he's at Basel now?
Yeah, he's back in Basel, where I think he grew up in Basel. So, so that's...
he wanted to finish his career at home, probably. A lot of players do that. Like, they want to end at home.
Might as well. Your family's here. Get to play in front of your friends and family and hometown crowd. So. Fun. Good.
I mean, that's pretty much all I have.
Well, I think that's a good amount of information.
There was a lot. Thank you for listening to Football Friday, and don't forget to check out our regular weekly episodes of Wine Together. If you want to join the conversation, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Wine Together Pod.
Bye.